Welcome to the NEPA Scene Podcast. We're coming to you live from Cole Creative in downtown Wilkes-Barre. I'm Rich Howells. I'm the founder and editor of NEPA Scene. And my buddy Johnny Popko cannot make it tonight. He is sick. His kid is sick. Everybody's sick. But he wishes us a sick podcast. So I guess we'll try to make this as sick as we can. Tonight we're here with Jonathan Edwards, who's a videographer, a photographer, podcast producer, video editor, owner of Contention Media, and co-owner of 5/7 Drone that creates amazing aerial videos of Northeastern Pennsylvania. If you were just tuned in now, you saw one of those videos. Go check out his page. It's amazing. Your page is watching as well, so
Yes.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, we have both pages going on.
First time we've ever done that, so it's cool to share those viewers. So if you've never seen the NEPA Scene Podcast before, welcome. So we're going to be talking about aerial filmmaking, capturing the beauty of NEPA, learning and mastering photography, the best and most interesting places to shoot in our area. His latest project, which covers some creative people in our area, and much, much more. So if you're interested in photos and videos, if you want to get into this stuff, if you're already a photographer or a filmmaker, you're going to find this show very interesting. We have lots to talk about tonight. So please leave your questions and comments down below. It's much more fun when you guys participate. We will get to them at some point in the show. I'm going to shoot a couple questions first, and then we're going to get into to your comments and your questions as well. So we would love to hear from you. We're going to be here for a full hour. Thank you to everybody who tuned in tonight. We're also on Periscope on Twitter if you're watching there as well. But before we get into the interview, we do have some quick people to plug. Our wonderful sponsors, Beer Boys in Wilkes-Barre. They always provide us with these huge crawlers the size of your head of some great beers. And they have 72 beers on tap. So they give us something new every week. Usually it ties into whatever they have on special. This week they gave us Great Lakes Oktoberfest, Sam Adams Oktoberfest, and SBC Oktoberfest. I'm seeing a pattern here. Which one do you want to go with first?
I was not paying attention. I heard a lot of Octobers.
They are all Oktoberfests. We got Great Lakes, Sam Adams, or SBC.
SBC.
All right.
I'm not really.
We're going to start local because obviously we are a locally themed podcast, so it makes sense. We both feature the area in different ways and try to see the positive side of things.
Yeah, so everyone watching from my page over at 570 Drone, you should definitely check these guys out every week because one of the cool things they do is, I don't know, they drink local beers. So I'm not very good at, micro brews and all that kind of stuff, but these guys are. They have a lot of bands and cool stuff going on. So yeah.
We feature local arts and entertainment every week. We are the most read arts and entertainment publication in Northeastern Pennsylvania. So if you're not already following us, we're on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. We have updates every single day about stuff going on in the area. This thing we do every Wednesday where we have a different guest on. And it's funny because I've been following this guy on Facebook for a while, Facebook stalking you and seeing all the good stuff that you're up to. And then we were doing a podcast a couple weeks ago, and you were waiting outside because you're filming stuff.
Yeah.
I know that sounds weirder than it really was.
No, it was just about as weird as it sounds.
And he's like, "Hey, you want to talk about local music and stuff in the area?" Because we were just talking about that with the organizers of the Electric City Music Conference. So I said, "Yeah, let's chat." So he filmed us. That video is up on our page now too. You can scroll down a little bit and see that, or it's on 570 Drones page as well. But cool stuff. Love what you guys are doing. So cheers.
Cheers. So yeah, you can go ahead and do your standard like beer review thing, but I don't drink enough to have any idea of the difference. I mean,
between one and the next.
God's honest truth, though, I'm kind of disappointed that you're not doing like like the blueberry and strawberry and orange and
Well,
chocolate
you know,
and all the
it's-
crazy stuff you
It's
have on
funny
here.
because it really depends on different people's perspectives. Because we had Lifer on last week,
Yeah.
and those guys are great. We had a fun time talking to them. And they were like making fun of me for drinking all the flavored stuff. Like, oh, where's the real beer? Where's the Coors Light and stuff like that? That's what we drank when we were young and stuff. And I'm like, yeah. But in this day and age, do you really want to drink pee? Like, is that?
Yeah.
Are we still like? Are we still at that point? Like, can we get past that and actually like drink stuff with flavor in it now? So, it depends on your perspective. Some people love this kind of stuff, the craft beer with all the stuff added into it, and some people are like, oh, where's my traditional beer? We kind of have a little mix of everything on the show. We don't know what they're going to give us in advance, but it's always usually good. It's always something that we like. Every once in a while, they give us something with like jalapeno or something weird in it, but for the most part, it's stuff that we always really enjoy, or at least we can talk about on the show for a couple minutes. So it ties into what we're doing.
I mean, I'm such a light drinker that at a wedding this weekend was the first time I've ever actually even had, this is weird to say, a Long Island iced tea.
Oh, really?
Because, I didn't think much of it before, but I saw him make one.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
There's like 35 different alcohols in there.
And they're super dangerous, yeah.
Yeah, they're nuts. And, it was pretty fun.
Yeah, you can get messed up on those pretty quick.
That's my whole story.
Well, tonight is their glass night, so stop down at Beer Boys. You can get Sam Adams Oktoberfest and a free Sam Adams Stein, which those are huge. Now it's 'tis the season, so if you need your pumpkin beer, your Oktoberfest, all that good stuff, they have all those seasonal stuff and all the regular stuff as well. You can pretty much get anything there. We also want to plug the V Spot, one of the most popular bars in Northeastern Pennsylvania. Live entertainment every night of the week. This week they have Paul Martin tonight, the Kerry Kenny Band on Thursday, Dance Hall Devils on Friday, Until Sunrise on Saturday, and DJ Huff is hosting karaoke on Sunday. And of course, our NEPA Scene Rising Talent open mic is also going on as well. If you're a local musician, a comedian, performer of any kind, we would love to see you at that open mic. We're going to be there till the end of November, every single Tuesday, except next Tuesday we're going to be off. But every Tuesday after that, we're going to be there. And our online voting is going to start tomorrow, actually. So we're going to put up a poll, and you guys decide who the winners are. We're going to, instead of doing one winner at the end like we usually do, we're going to do one winner each month. So we're going to have 3 different winners. We're giving away hundreds of dollars in cash. We're giving away free recording studio time, all this cool stuff at no cost to the artist at all. So make sure that you vote for your favorite tomorrow on our site.
That's pretty cool.
Always have a good time there. You should come check it out sometime. You were at the Steamtown Music Awards. That was pretty crazy.
Yeah.
It's not that
Holy crap.
not that packed when we do it, but it's still we get a good crowd for a Tuesday night.
Yeah, I think that was the Steamtown Music Awards was the second night that I was ever in the V Spot, and I didn't think much of it because of the name for years, but I went there. They're pretty legit right up there in Scranton. But yeah, you couldn't move that night. Like you couldn't move outside. Then you went inside, and it was like, wow, like I had to cheat my way to the stage by going through a back door. So.
So I wanted to start I had a conversation with Johnny before I got here, and I was like, well, since you're not coming, is there anything that you want to ask him that you're not going to get to ask? And he said, it seems like he came out of nowhere. So ask him where he came from. Where did you come from with all this crazy stuff? Oh, because you're not from here originally, right?
Yeah, no, I'm not. I've been here for about 12 years. And you're not the first to tell me about that. It has, like, to say I came out of nowhere. I was talking to Marky Denenbaum up at 25A. He was saying the same thing. He's like, I don't know where you came from, just, like, appeared.
Yeah.
And really, it's, I've been plugging away for years. I owned a cell phone store in Wilkes-Barre, iPhone repair shop, all that kind of stuff. And it turns out that I hated that. And I'm just like, I'm gonna
Time for a career change.
Yeah, the thing that I like doing the best is like I like taking these little videos and taking photos of all this stuff that I've been doing. Yeah. And I've been in video production years before in the early 2000s, but I just decided to jump in and just sell the store, sell everything, and start doing video production. It was the stupidest thing and the best thing I've ever done. So, so that was like 3 years ago, and now I'm everywhere on the small part of Facebook that I exist on.
When did you start producing the 5.7 drone videos? You and a friend of yours does that, right?
Yeah, me and friend of mine named Frank. He's super cool guy. I remember when I first started Contention Media, and I was, still struggling to plug along. I did the whole Uber driver thing, and I would drive down to Philadelphia. I would drive, and then they brought Uber up here, so I'd drive around here, making videos and driving for Uber. And so that's actually another one of my mini YouTube channels, Uber Driver Log, and everybody seems to like it on there.
That's cool.
But what am I thinking here? He was an Uber driver too. He was a retired state trooper. He liked messing around with driving for Uber. I met up with him after starting an Uber driver group, which is something I love doing, is creating groups of things that, like-minded people, hobbies, all that kind of stuff. But and he was flying around on his drone during one of our meetups, and like 2 weeks later, I spent way too much money on a drone, and
As one does.
that was a wrap. I just kept on. I just loved it, and recently, a few months ago, I started really pushing out, going live and doing live videos every day, every evening.
Okay.
And with all this rain and the tail end, the last push of the wedding season, I haven't been able to go live a lot lately. But the live videos have really propelled me to being noticed by a few people, which is super cool.
Well, there's the only, you see so many live videos on Facebook now and Instagram and everything, but none of them look as nice as the stuff that you guys are putting out. So I think it stands out from the pack, because most people, even myself included, will stream from a phone and stuff just because it's easy, it's quick, and whatever. But I mean, you guys make it a full production. You got stuff on the drones, and you can cut back and forth and things like that. It's really cool.
Yeah, and that's actually something I'm building out right now, is some really cool multicam, and everybody who watches my channel, all of you guys who watch my channel, you guys and girls, they have all had to deal with me experimenting in front of 10,000 people, just like feeds cutting out and all kinds of crazy stuff, microphones not working as well as they should, and they've seen, you guys have gone through a lot. I appreciate it, but yeah, we're doing some cool stuff with that kind of production, going live from a dozen different angles, and we're going to be picking up a Sling studio soon, and things are going to get a little bit crazier.
Yeah.
So.
Well, one of the things that you said when we were talking outside a couple of weeks ago that kind of struck me was you were talking about one of the most common things that people will say on your video. They always talk about how beautiful you make the area look.
Yeah.
And your response was, I should let you finish that, but...
For anybody who doesn't know, yeah, that's my angle right there. Anyone who doesn't know, saying that I make Northeastern Pennsylvania look beautiful, or I make Wilkes-Barre look beautiful, or Nanticoke, or Ashley, or Plymouth, or any of these other cities, that's my biggest pet peeve, because Northeastern Pennsylvania is beautiful. It is. It's not. Yeah. It's not beautiful when it's snowing. It's not just beautiful when it's raining. It's not just beautiful from the air. I mean, Northeastern Pennsylvania is freaking stunning, and that's why it's just my biggest pet peeve when people blame the beauty on the $2,000 plastic drone in the sky.
Right.
This area is just absolutely amazing.
I think people take that for granted too, that you can go from, you can be in a city and then 2 seconds later you can be out in this beautiful lush area with lots of nature around and stuff, and you can go back and forth in just a few minutes. So some places you got to drive miles and miles and miles for that.
No, you're right about that. I mean, Yeah, I can't get enough. I mean, it used to be where I wouldn't be able to drive up the highway without stopping and throwing the drone up and filming. And I'm starting to get a little bit more self-controlled, not a heck of a lot, but
Yeah.
it's just every night there's another incredible sunset. Every morning there's fog coming up from the river and separating the mountains out with mist. And it's like, hey, we live in a different world over here. And I
Right.
like you said, I'm not, I've only been in Northeastern Pennsylvania for 12 years, 11, 12 years now, and a little over a decade. I've lived in Indiana, Kansas, lived in Alaska. I spent a lot of time in New York when I was a kid, and, I've been all over the country. I've been all over the world, and Northeastern Pennsylvania is just absolutely incredible. Even compared to some of those magnificent places I've lived, the NEPA is kind of off the hook. Plus, you're like an hour and a half away from New York and Philly.
It's you seem like you like it for the people too. It's not. I know
Some of the people, yeah.
It's certainly not everybody for sure. No offense if you're a Talkback 16 caller, but we're talking about you people. But everybody else, there's some cool creative people here, and you've been good at kind of bringing those people together. You see a lot of people in any business, my business and in your business, photography and filmmaking and stuff, that are very competitive, that are very in people's faces about being better than somebody else and stuff. And you seem more like the type that want to just bring people together and for their common groups. You guys have a photography group on Facebook.
Yep.
That I've seen a lot of really cool posts from. Love people
these
sharing their
guys
stuff
are-
and being real complimentary, and people looking for tips and stuff, which is great.
Yeah, NEPA Camera Club. I mean, I was shocked. Everybody kept on asking me to start this club, and so I did. I started NEPA Camera Club, and I was just shocked by the photographers there are. Holy crap! Here I am. I start this club, and I'm this good photographer. I think my stuff is awesome, and then I start this group. We have 450 people join it, and oh god, I suck. You have no idea. These guys are so good. And we have some just unbelievable talent in this area in photography, filmmaking, filmmaking in this area. You'd be shocked to. You don't even know the stuff that comes out of here yet. That's why I'm doing the documentary.
Right.
So.
Yeah, we could talk a little bit about that. So you're interviewing creative people in the area. It's called New Breed.
The working title right now is New Breed Creative and/or New Breed Photo. It's a working title. It barely matters right now. When it comes out, that's when the title will be important.
Right.
But
you're interviewing people all over and just talking about what they're into or why they do what they do and that kind of thing.
Yeah, pretty much. I just want to talk about the talent pool here in Northeastern Pennsylvania because, my ultimate goal is to, and it's not just me. There's a few other people that their goal is to turn Northeastern Pennsylvania, our little Scranton, Wilkes-Barre area, into this hub of the Northeast for creative. For creators, for video, film, and we have it. We have just about every atmosphere you could imagine here. Every we don't have some of the craziness of Los Angeles on the East Coast. I think
Sure.
this could be just an unbelievable creative hub.
Yeah, especially like you said, we're between New York and Philly. We have that drivable distance to major cities. And there's people doing that stuff already. Marky Denenbaum, you mentioned. He's worked on major TV shows, major films.
Dude's awesome.
And he produces stuff
legitimately awesome.
all the time. Out there that he's kind of too humble to really take credit for, talk about too much publicly. But he does a lot of really cool stuff that's worth bragging about and checking out. I see so many people that do stuff for national things and stuff like that. We had Nick Coyle on last week. We didn't really talk about it because we were talking about his band and things like that. But he's done music for years for television shows and stuff like that. Things that you've probably seen all the time, and you wouldn't know who did the background music for it. And he does a lot of that stuff. There's so many people like that I don't think get enough credit that come from here or live here and do it out of here. You can be the big fish in the small pond, so to speak, as opposed
Yeah.
to like going to, Los Angeles or somewhere else where it's really cutthroat and the cost of living is outrageous.
Yeah, and it's nice too, because like like what you're saying, being the big fish in a small pond. Like I'm nobody. Like if I moved over to if I was in Los Angeles today, like people wouldn't hire me to film their kid's birthday party. Like I'd be hard pressed.
Yeah.
But like over here, it is easier to produce better content than most of the people. I mean, you're not going to mess around with like Bellardi or Denenbaum, like those guys, and a bunch of other people. Which I apologize for not knowing all your names. You're all awesome, but I just can't remember your names on the spot.
Yeah.
But like, you're not going to compete with them. But like, I get hired to do some cool stuff. I do a lot of cool stuff for free, and like this area is really super underrated for the amount of talent that it has. And I feel like I just got off on a weird tangent when I was trying to remember names. So
Well, you were saying about you do a lot of stuff for free. We do a lot of stuff for free too. It's hard to it's easy to be creative around here, and there's a lot of creative people you can hook up with that will be encouraging and stuff like that. It's much tougher to get paid. How do you go about monetizing what you do, other than like
with
obviously
like
doing
baseball
weddings
bats
and things like that?
yeah, no, no. Monetizing is, I mean, I do live videos like this, and I look right into the camera and I say, "Hey, you should hire me to do this." Like.
Is that the best way to do it, you think? Like to reach people directly like that?
Yeah, I mean, ask for the sale. I got some cool thing. I have some cool things coming that some like really innovative concepts that are coming that are like outside of the TV spectrum. They a lot of social media and YouTube, which is social media. YouTube is another social network these
Sure.
days.
Yeah.
But coming to people where they are and making yourself, I don't know. I mean, if I want to sell it, I will. You'll hear from me soon. People who have a budget for what I want to do, but it's like a lot of stuff. It's very similar. I mean, if you like, I don't know, if you want to do it for free, just watch my channel and just imitate me. But I promise it's a lot of work.
Yeah, you guys
Yeah.
make it look easy, but I'm sure you spend hours and hours in the editing booth. Editing's the worst. Editing is the hardest to do, and I say that as an editor myself, but I'm
never
more an
ends.
editor of text.
Yeah.
But it's still very similar in that sense. Yeah, there's so much to sift through, and there's so much work that people don't see. They just see the final product, and they're like, oh, yeah, that's pretty,
Yeah, it never ends. The editing never ends. And then you look at your old stuff and you just have to like pretend it doesn't exist. But yeah, I mean, I do a lot of, things that pay the bills that I also love doing are like things like weddings.
Mm-hmm.
I love doing wedding films because they're awesome. I mean, like if you're in the business to tell stories, then what better stories to tell than two people who fell in love? Like that's the
Exactly.
classic right there. And these
That's
people
what
are
most
like
media is about, right?
people are willing to throw money at you to tell an awesome story about. Yeah, it's right there. Everybody's dressed to the nines, so like it's hard to make. Well, no, it's not hard to make a bad wedding video. From experience,
I'm
I
sure
know this.
people have had a few out there, right?
But it's just right there. So like, it's a good way to make money if you enjoy doing it. Otherwise, you'll lose your mind.
Yeah, I know a lot of photographers that are very good at what they do, but they hate doing weddings because they've done it for so many years, and they're like, I'm like so tired of that and stuff. So,
Yeah.
you're probably still fresh enough to it that you're not sick of it yet.
No, I love it. I mean, I've been doing it for a couple of years. I'm not like 5-10 years into it, but
Yeah.
I've been doing it for 2 years now, and still love it. I mean, you get free cake 2 or 3 times a weekend, and
Free cake's always good.
it's like my big, like yes. And the only weddings I don't like are dry weddings, so I'll try not to. I'll try not to get hired for those. Like, no offense, but it is what it is. Hey, what's up, Frank? And Marcus. And I'm talking to, the people watching on mine, Kim,
Yeah, it's cool because we have two different feeds
Chris,
of comments going on at the same time, which is pretty
Ed,
cool as well.
Ryan. So, sorry, I'm like totally interrupting. So I feel like I've only half answered most of your questions. So if you feel like my answers really, really sucked, you could ask
That's
me
all right.
again.
We got a lot to get in an hour, so
Yeah.
I'm just going to keep rattling them off.
Fair enough.
So how do you get into aerial photography? Because that's a whole other thing than on the ground with a camera, a few feet from someone. Aerial photography is a whole different thing that I absolutely know nothing about other than seeing videos like yours out there. So how do you even begin to get into that, and what's the process of doing that?
You start by spending more money than you're comfortable with. And
Of course.
Pissing off your wife. Hi, Tammy. And my wife isn't Tammy. It just, wow, that was bad timing. Yeah, you start by picking up something halfway decent, and if you want to find something halfway decent, check. I have links everywhere. Paulette will put a link into the comments here in a moment. Paulette is my wife. So you start with a decent drone, put it up in the air, and you just record for hours every day and don't stop, and just keep on going out. And if it's not for you, you'll stop doing that.
Right.
If it is for you, then 4 years later, you'll be sitting across from, you'll be sitting on a live podcast with NEPA Scene. That's just pretty much the long and short of it. Just, if you like photography, you want to get into aerial photography and video, then you start by getting a drone. In this particular case, you do have to buy, like, a lot of times I'd say, like, if you want to get into filmmaking, buy a mediocre tripod and an adapter for your phone and start shooting on your phone, and hopefully you have an iPhone. You could edit in iMovie. Don't email me. And and you can start filmmaking right from your phone. But when it comes to aerial stuff, like, you either have to learn how to jump really high or spend $1,500 on a drone or $800 on a drone. So that's you got to start with the camera. So.
Right. So do you read about how to buy this equipment in terms of like what brands to buy and things like that, or did you just kind of like go dive into it and then figure that out later?
I pretty much I did what Frank told me to do.
So find a friend, essentially.
Find a friend, or find somebody who knows what they're talking about, and just and hope that they're right. And in my case, they were right. So Frank loved DJI. There was no real competitors out there. Still isn't any real competitors. So that's what I got into, DJI. So. Yeah.
What are some of the most interesting places that you've found to shoot in the area? You've shot a lot of different things. What are some of your favorites? Some of the places that you might recommend to other photographers or videographers out there?
Oh man, remember what I was saying? Like, NEPA was super awesome and it's beautiful everywhere. Mm-hmm. Like, there are some hot spots that I really like. One of them is, the obvious ones are like Concrete City, and you could drive down to Centralia and Graffiti Highway.
Yeah.
Two really popular places.
Yeah, those are ones that have been written about all over. So
yeah,
they're pretty easy to track down.
Yeah, if you want to get pretty much automatic likes, if you want people to like your stuff on social media, just go down to the Market Street Bridge and take some photos. People just like those,
Yeah, it's a beautiful spot.
Yeah, there's a lot of parks. Unknown, there's lots of, just explore, really. This place is never ending. The history of Northeastern Pennsylvania is, if you learn about the history of NEPA, then you'll be able to shoot, you'll be able to find spots to shoot and actually have a story to talk about, even if it's just a still photo. You have a story to talk about because it's just, during the Revolutionary War, this was like a key location, and all kinds of crazy stuff happened here. And like, this is the history of the United States is, in a lot of ways, started right here. You know, not started, but like depended on Northeastern Pennsylvania. It's something really cool that Tony Brooks has been. I've been learning a lot from him, and that dude just knows everything. And, you know, but there's some crazy stuff that went down in Northeastern Pennsylvania that shaped our country. I mean, the state of Wyoming is named after the Wyoming Valley. Like crazy stuff. So, yeah, research the history, and you'll start learning where to shoot. There's some cool stuff.
Yeah, you know, you started doing recently is you know, we shared one earlier today that you did on Concrete City, where you kind of mix, you know, you show the video of what it looks like and then give us a little bit of the history of it. And I think people love that kind of stuff. They eat it up. I mean, that's almost at 100,000 views now, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm totally ripping that off. There's a lot of that format. You know, the square video. Everyone knows the square video. With the text that pops up at the bottom. I think there's like the one I know that does it is like now this. You know, now this politics. Now this history. Now this. You know, they have this big network, and you know they ripped it off from somebody else. I mean, it's just like this. It's getting a lot of views because I actually took the time to script it out and have different pieces. I mean, Reading, Pennsylvania, they have the pagoda down there. That's the most recent one, and cool videos, like really cool videos. Access Aerial and 570 Drone. We're both working on those together.
That's
so
cool.
We want to get more reach, really. I mean, yeah. So.
And you know, I think people don't understand, like they see this stuff and it's, you know, it looks great, it's professionally produced and whatever. They don't understand, like, you're doing this all out of your own pocket, using hours of your own time on top of what you know you're doing for a living, and you know, shooting weddings and this kind of stuff and raising a family. You know, people don't, I think, understand how much work goes into that stuff, because I get that all the time. I had somebody, you know, during the music conference who's like, "Oh, I want your job." I'm like, "Do you? Do you?" I mean, yeah, cool. I get to talk to a lot of cool people. I get to go to a lot of cool concerts, you know, usually for free, to, you know, review them and stuff like that. But it's also a lot of work. Like, I got to pay attention to everything that's going on and write it down, all the details, and, you know, give an accurate, you know, review of everything that's happening. And, you know, even stuff like this, you know, I got to research people and write the questions out and stuff like that. You know, we try to make it look easy and make it look professional so that you guys can enjoy it for consumption. But there's so many hours that go into this stuff that I think people don't realize, like, how much time you got to sacrifice.
Oh my God, yeah. I have so much to say about this. So much. When people say those words, like, "Oh, you're so lucky," like, you're so lucky to be doing photography and film full time. Like, one, like, if you say I'm lucky, then you have no idea what it takes to do this. Like, I have, God's honest truth, I've lost everything. Like, everything. And not like back in the day. Like, I'm talking about last year, I lost everything. Like, just pursuing this and pushing and pushing and pushing and trying to get it. I mean, I'm talking about, like, we lost our house, we lost vehicles, you know, and we're just starting to come out of that now, and it's not easy. I mean, doing what, like, a lot of people make fun of the whole, like, "Oh, you know, spend your life doing what you love" thing. Like, "Oh yeah, look at those guys are just doing whatever you want." Like, nobody says do whatever you want. They say do what you love, and
right.
It's different than doing what you want, because if
Absolutely.
a lot of times, like, I don't want to get up and leave the house sometimes, but I have to, because I do, you know, I don't do what I want to do because I want to do what I love, and it's a lot of work and sacrifice. And unless you're actually incredibly lucky, then you're never going to something fill in the blank. There's you know, I mean,
whatever it is that you're creative or
it's
passionate about.
Yeah, it's a lot of work and sacrifice, and none of us have it easy. That's, you know, that's the whole point. Like, don't don't do this unless you know you want to do it.
Right.
For God's sake, don't quit your job.
There's a great I saw it summed up maybe a couple months ago. There's a great a web comic called Sarah Scribbles, and it was her perspective as an artist, and it's just 4 panels, and it's like her working for hours and hours on this painting and putting all these details in and losing sleep and going through all this stuff, and then finally it's hanging in a museum, and somebody comes over and goes, pretty good, and walks away and goes, yes, yes, and that was it. Like, that's all of that work, just for that 1 second of people to go, and that's I feel like so much of what we produce on the site and stuff like that, and what everybody else does, I see the quality of the work, and people just kind of like, I skimmed it, or I watched it, for like 2 seconds, and they forget all about it and stuff. They don't realize like that's somebody's passion. Same with music. People are so dismissive of music that they've never heard of, or they don't understand. Like, we feature local artists all the time, and it's such a push to get those people out to people who want to listen to that stuff. And it's like, but do you realize how much time these people sacrifice to create this stuff and write this music and practice it to hell to the point that it sounds tight, and then go out and play it and spend all the money on equipment and everything else just for people to go,
yeah,
and keep going,
exactly. And it's one of those
so like, frustrating.
And it's not like, let's see, how many people do I have? 11 people watching. How many people you got?
12 right now.
12. So we're 11 and 12. We have a total of like 22, 23 people watching. I can't do math. But so 23 people watching, and so I'll say this, like, the other day I posted it for like 5 minutes, and then I deleted it, and it's like, another one of my big giant pet peeves is people requesting things on the Facebook, like, and I love you all, don't get me wrong, like, I love every one of you, you're awesome, but I will see, like, I have one person on my Patreon supporting me for $2 a month.
Right.
And 50 people asking me, and some people getting mad at me for not filming in certain areas. Like, I get yelled at for not going over and making a video about a certain area. And I'm like, look, if you're that one person paying $2 a month on my Patreon, then you have the right to get mad at me. But everyone else, please just enjoy what I'm doing. I'm trying my best. Like,
right.
So, by the way, sign up for my Patreon. So
I've been thinking about starting one of those. I'm not really sure if I want to get down with that. It's
my experience tells me they're pretty worthless, but at the end of the year I'll have $24 extra.
Right. That's $24 you didn't have before. It's a meal.
Yeah.
That's something,
Yeah,
we get that a lot too. Like, we do our open mic and stuff, and I tell people every week, like, hey, we got stickers and buttons over in the corner for $1. $1. We have T-shirts that are $10,
and they want them for free.
Oh yeah, and they're like, people have taken them for free. Like, they see the sign and they just take them, or like they'll come, they'll benefit from the mic, they'll benefit from it. And they'll say, it's so great and wonderful, and I've gotten so much out of it. I'm like, awesome, I'm so glad. A button, $1, a sticker, and they're like, yeah, they walk away, and I'm like, oh, come on, man.
Yeah.
Give me a break.
And listen, we're doing this because we love it, not because we're going to get rich, because none of us are going to get rich.
No, we have no illusions about that.
But, I mean, it would be nice to go to Dunkin' Donuts and be like, I'll take a large today.
Yeah, the real luxuries.
Yeah. I want to put an egg in my ramen noodle instead of just eating it plain.
Right. So and that's it's a good lead into something else I want to ask you about. Something we talk about on the show a lot, that we fight all the time, is the hardcore cynicism in Northeastern Pennsylvania. You go to any of the news sites in the area, go to the Scranton Times, the WNEP, any of those things, and you see the comments and whatever, and you can't judge them all by what people say online, because they're not the same things they would probably say in person and whatever. But, you ask your average person, I think people are really down on the area. People are really cynical about this area. the people here, the jobs, whatever, the lack of. So what makes you positive about the area? What makes you love it? What makes you, give a shit to the point where you're making this kind of stuff?
Well, that's a big thing. The cynicism is huge and frustrating and annoying, and there's a lot of finger pointing going on, and people don't believe, like, when people hear new ideas, when you have an idea and you want to do something different, something unique, people don't believe you could do it until it's already done. And in a lot of ways, that's not a hell of a lot different than other areas of the country, but in a lot of ways, that is, it is. I want to say magnified. It's like in Northeastern Pennsylvania, as beautiful as it is, like, there's a lot of curmudgeons. Like, there's a lot of people that just, like, a lot of get off my lawn type people. And
sure.
Again, I love you all, but make that clear. But people don't, like, I noticed that a lot of people don't want to, like I just said a minute ago, they don't believe that something's possible until you've already done it. And
so they're not encouraging, is what you're saying.
They're not encouraging of new things, but on the flip side, I think that has turned it into a furnace. Like, in a lot of ways. I mean, coal is gone. Let's face it. Like, we have fracking now, and we'll see what happens there. But coal is gone.
It seems to be going the same way. Coal went.
Now we have creatives, and we have the potential for an industry that can. We have the location, we have the, really the lack of legislation, to, the lack of restrictions in our area to do some really great things in film, specifically in film and in cinematography and in cinema, and we could do some really cool stuff. And something's got to replace coal. Something's got to replace being a miner, and I think being a creative is going to do that. You could be a doctor, but who's going to replace the coal jobs? There's something else I wanted to say. When I said the cynicism and the lack of support really turns this place into a furnace. I believe that the creatives who are able to push through the lack of support in this area are better for it. In a lot of ways, and an order of magnitude better than, like, other areas. Like,
sure,
like, is you have to really push through it,
right,
in order to become successful as a creative in Northeastern Pennsylvania. So it's frustrating, but we'll see. That's what I'm doing the documentary for. Like, I want to kind of pick everyone's brains and feature a lot of people and find out what we could do to make this area even more awesome than it already is.
Yeah, I find just interviewing people on this couch every week, everybody has a different perspective and something to add to it. And, maybe I've asked the same question 100 times to 100 different guests, but I've also gotten 100 different answers a lot of times. People have such different, interesting perspectives on what's going on here that I think it's worth highlighting those and stop reading comments on Facebook or the Scranton Times website or any of that kind of stuff where it's just like cynicism abounds and it's the same people, and I think those people get emboldened by that and they think they represent all of us, like I'm representing Northeast PA by saying this and whatever, and it's like you're not actually, though. You're one guy who's living in your mom's basement that thinks that you know everything. Yeah, and it's not true at all. You don't represent the rest of us.
Yeah, and I'm telling, like, Citizens Voice, come on with your comments section.
Oh,
Jesus Christ! Like, fix it.
Times leaders know better.
Yeah, well, I haven't called out Times leader because I like Amy Dilger. She's super cool. But come on, for crying out loud! Like, fix your comments section. Like, just fix it for fuck's sake. Sorry, everyone. Like, I used to curse a lot in my live videos because I really genuinely don't care until
Right.
one day I'm like doing this live video, and I believe it's with Tony Brooks. I was doing a live video of the Market Street Bridge, and he's talking about the Market Street Bridge a lot, and I saw somebody like, oh, me and my two daughters, we're watching this right now, and we're so excited about this, and I'm like,
and you're like, ooh.
I've watched out ever since. I'm like, okay, I gotta bite my tongue a little bit. So, but
yeah, we have a slightly older audience. We have more of an alternative audience. I feel like we're like a true alternative publication, so we kind of curse a little bit more. But I totally get what you're saying. Yeah, you kind of got to watch it sometimes, or at least maybe dial it back a little bit of what you normally say.
I think kids have tuned out a while ago,
especially at this hour, right?
Yeah.
So let me get.
Hey, what's up, Ryan David?
Yeah, give any shout outs to anybody who, Joe Caviston tuned in. We talked about him in the Steamtown Music Awards.
We have Marcus Casman, Ryan Myers.
James Callahan, who does Camp Rattler. Shout out to Camp Rattler. Great guys. They do shows at the Border Bar in Pittston every week. And, I should mention, because we were mentioning creative people doing things in the area, he actually has a deal with a national metal label, and he'll do metal videos right here in the area and produce them for half the cost that you would do in any other major city. So they love him, and they keep sending him more work. So a lot of the bands will come through here, and he'll shoot a music video with them in the woods or somewhere in our beautiful area where you're getting a great location for dirt cheap
or nothing
exactly. And getting some really cool music videos. So some national bands have shot music videos here, and people wouldn't even know it. You wouldn't recognize it if you're not from here. But
speaking of music videos, real quick, I want to Steamtown Music Awards next year. You have Photographer of the Year. You have to have Videographer of the Year.
Oh, yeah, that's the next one. Well, they add new categories every year, so I'm sure it's going to happen sooner or later.
Yeah, well, also, I don't know why, but I have a little chip on my shoulder. Not because of you guys or anybody else. I think it's self-inflicted. I want to run the table on music videos next year.
Okay.
For all the bands.
Yeah.
So I've already talked to a few bands, and we're scheduling things out. And so every video that's nominated for Video of the Year, I want it to be like produced by Jonathan Edwards underneath. So,
all right,
that's my goal. I want to run the table, and I don't care what it takes. I'll be somewhat cheap, but try not to kill me.
Right.
I just want to get it. I want to get it done. And it's a weird little goal that I have.
That's a cool one.
So Brian David says, "Are we checking the chat? We are now."
Yep.
Hi, Kathy Parker, Frank's watching.
George Palamides, shout out to him at Loyalty Barbershop. He says, can drones record sound?
No, not the... Well, oh man, that's a tricky question. Drones can record sound.
But it's not very good sound?
Depends on which drone you have.
Okay.
Most of the DJIs don't record sound anymore. If you strapped a GoPro to one of the old DJIs, the GoPro had a microphone, but there's no point in having sound on your drone because, what are you going to do? Just get wind noise blowing straight into the camera.
Right.
But the remote controller records sound. So whatever you're recording to, like if you press record and it's caching the footage that's coming down from the drone, it'll record you talking and stuff like that.
Oh, that's cool.
But it won't record sound from the drone most of the time. But it depends on what drone.
How that works, because I've seen some of your videos where you're narrating as it's going up, so it's recording from that.
It's recording from the phone.
Okay, that's cool.
The phone or the monitor.
Okay.
So I usually hook up a microphone. And all that kind of stuff. So yeah, if anybody has drone questions or whatever, there's Ed Kearns. He's cool people. Tammy, we did some Tammy's Kitchen. Tammy from Tammy's Kitchen, she gave away a drone on our channel last month, which was kind of cool. And Becca Lynn. What am I thinking here? Marcus Casman says, I'm the best videographer in the business.
There you go.
I'm not going to give my opinion on that statement. Just going to let him say it.
Right. Let it speak for itself. So, do you have any advice for people who want to get into this stuff, or people who maybe, they're amateur photographers, maybe they want to get better? What would you recommend? Let's start with photography before we get into the aerial stuff. As a photographer, how do you get into it? How do you get better? What's your advice there?
Well, for local people, for people from Northeastern Pennsylvania, pretty much everyone watching here, join Northeastern Pennsylvania Camera Club, NEPA Camera Club, and you'll find, in joining, simply all you have to do is go over to the group, click join group, and tell us that you're from Northeastern Pennsylvania, because we're sticklers about that. We don't want people from like Idaho.
Right.
It's hyper local. The reason it's hyper local is because you get to go into that group and ask questions, and we do monthly meetups, and we have a great person that organized that, Candy. What the hell is her last name? I don't know, it doesn't matter. You'll know when you join the group. But she does a great job organizing the monthly meetups, and Brittany Boot is doing a lot of stuff in the group, and she's doing a lot of workshops that she, this is coming up, and you guys all know Brittany from both of our pages. You all know Brittany, and we have the top photographers in the area. Like I mentioned before, Amy Dilger and Tom Riley. I'm sorry. There's a lot of great photographers, and don't hate me.
Butch Kanjis from the Scranton Times. I don't know if you know Butch at all, but that's a guy. Actually, I've talked to him about being on the show one of these times, because there's a guy. Award-winning photographer.
Yeah,
I see him, working harder than everybody else, getting these crazy angles and laying on the concrete in the middle of the street while traffic's driving by, just to get that one shot. He's that guy. But his stuff comes through. It's incredible.
Yeah, I've met him a few times, and I'm pretty sure I've seen some crazy stuff happen. But like Frank Laurie too. And a lot of the people So step one, join a group of people who love photography, and that group in this area is Northeastern Pennsylvania, or NEPA Camera Club.
Right.
Because all the best photographers there are there, and they're actively, you'll have the number one photographer in the area in the type of photography that you want to do, answering your questions about how to get better at that, and it's really freaking cool. It's awesome. It doesn't cost anything. It's a Facebook group, so
right.
But you should send me money anyway. Are we gonna do another one of those?
If you want, I'd be happy to crack another one open. Which one do you want to do?
I'm just staring at him now. I'm an Irish guy, so
Sam Adams, or do you want to do the Great Lakes?
Great Lakes.
Or
Sam Adams, whatever you want. They're both Oktoberfest.
They are both Oktoberfest. I will say, too, by the way, the SBC was excellent. Super crisp. Immediately reminds me of fall. That kind of taste to it. Great stuff.
Tasted like beer.
Super enjoyable. I love SBC. Pretty much everything they've ever come out with is great. I can't complain about anything that they've given us. Cheers.
Cheers. Yeah, more beer. All right. So
your advice is really to talk to other people who are doing it, and try to do that. Do you see any? Are there people? I've seen this before too. People, photographers, who get along, and then there's ones who don't. Or like, oh, you're copying my style or something like that. Are you flattered when people try to do what you do, or are you trying to are you like, hey, wait a minute, you're stepping on my toes here. You're trying to do what I'm doing. Let's
be clear. Everything is a ripoff. Everything. I know there was, and I don't care who know. I'm relatively outspoken. I try not to be a jerk most of the time. But there was a photographer who was all kinds of pissed off at Brittany for steel
Wasn't
wool.
she shooting in the same place or something like that, or using the same technique?
It was a similar technique, but steel wool, like a steel wool photographer. So they would use a battery to light the steel wool, and you'd spin it, and it would.
Oh, that's what it was. Yeah, that's
and it's super cool, like unbelievably cool.
right. Yeah.
And another photographer was all kinds of like just spitting mad, like, oh, you stole my
As
style.
if they came up with it.
Yeah, yeah. It was like, yo, Google steel wool photography for crying out loud. Like, holy crap! It's like a rite of passage for a photographer, and all these
Sure.
like you have to do steel wool. I mean, you have to don't if somebody does selective color where it's like a girl standing there with a flower in her hand and the only thing is red, like the flower is the only thing that's in color, everything else is black and white. I mean, that's like, it's super cliche, but it's also it's like something everybody does. There, like every idea has been used. Like I had this idea a while ago of, and feel free to steal this one, but like I had this idea to strap a couple flashlights onto my drone or a couple little LEDs, and then go over to the Wilkes-Barre courthouse and put a camera on like a 1 minute exposure and fly the drone around and create light trails.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
And it would be super cool, and feel free to steal it. If you get it done before me, that'd be cool. I'm still doing it. And, but like, I don't know. I don't think it's hard to steal stuff. Like it's hard to steal ideas. When it comes, I mean, there's some obvious stuff but like, I don't know, I get accused of, there was one, I won't mention who they are, but like they're all kinds of pissed off that I did a video about Concrete City. And I did a video about Graffiti Highway. And it's like, come on, guys. Like, there's no stealing. Just like, I don't know, like.
There's so many others that have done that too. It's like, are you gonna? You could say to that same person, like, well, you ripped it off of 20 other people.
Yeah. I think I lost the plot of this question, though. But yeah, creativity. Like, I don't know. If you have something cool, like I'll share it. Like ask me to share it, and I'll share it. I featured. What was it? It was just it's like a month ago. I featured 7 or 8 different drone pilots in a live video, and I just featured their videos one after another. Like, I want people to know about, like, the better you do, the better I'll do. Like, so yeah, keep on sharing.
My only pet peeve is people who don't give photo credit. That drives me crazy.
Oh, if you literally steal a photo.
You take photos and you put them on your page, and then you never share them. Or people who they think, well, the picture's of me, so therefore it's mine. Well, that's not how photography or videography works. Just because someone takes a picture of you, like performing on stage or something like that, and then you use it as your profile picture or whatever, like give that photographer credit because they captured that moment. They put the time and effort into it. Never mind the cost to them in terms of buying the camera and the equipment and stuff like that, but all the hours that it takes to get that kind of shot. There's so much training and so much work that goes into that kind of stuff that, if it's a silly cell phone picture, that's one thing, maybe you can kind of dance around that.
I don't think so. Like,
I think, you should still kind of give credit, but that happens to us all the time. People take our photos and use them, which is fine. I tell artists all the time, like, please use our photos and stuff like that. But love a little plug, just a little like, hey, NEPA Scene did this, so that people can get turned on to us that maybe didn't know that we existed before.
Yeah, like, listen, I mean, Facebook has a share button on everything. Just use the share button.
Yeah.
Like, that's all you have to do. Like,
right.
I've had people screenshot my photos and then share an obvious screenshot without credit. I've had people figure out ways to download Comfort Inn right here in Wilkes-Barre.
Yeah.
They have one of my videos from YouTube playing on loop.
Oh,
and they've had it playing on loop for like 2 years. And I guess they've safely assumed that I can't afford to pay a lawyer to go after them.
Yeah,
but
right.
Come on, Comfort Inn. Just give me 365 free night stay vouchers. That's all I want. Seriously, you've been playing my video for 2.5, 3 years now. Enough is enough.
Yeah.
But actual stealing, stealing ideas is one thing. Ideas are ideas.
Sure.
Ideas are worth their weight in gold, and they're weightless. so they're worthless. You know, ideas are worthless. Execution is where it's at. So, like, if I actually do something, if I take this photo and put a lot of work into it, or make a video and put a lot of work into it, yeah, don't steal that. I mean, all day long, share it. But and with videos, it's easy to embed, and you know, it'll still count towards me unless I restrict that. Like, you know, word of thumb, just word of thumb. Where the hell did that come from? Rule of thumb.
Yeah.
Is just ask the artist if you could share it. Like,
Yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
I pay a lot of money for stock audio on a lot of my videos.
Or, you know, I mean, God forbid, give people a couple of bucks and, you know, pay for the photo. You know, I mean, I know that's a lot to ask for a lot of people, but, you know, if it's one thing if they say they give it to you or whatever, but, you know, a lot of people will go out of their way to, you know, come to your, like, you know, in terms of bands, come out to your show and shoot it and stuff like that. If you're going to use those for promotional materials and things like that, you know, at the very least give photo credit, but at the most, like, maybe throw them a couple of bucks or something. Mm-hmm. You know, at least, you know, get them by, because, you know, that stuff is, like you said before, is costly. People don't realize, like, how much money camera equipment costs and lenses cost.
So much.
And they only last so long before you got to get new ones, or they break, or any number of things, you know.
Yeah. How many people are yelling at me on your feed?
No, nobody's yelling. Everybody's cool. That's a good thing is out of the year and a half that we've been doing the live streams, we've maybe had, like, you know, one person who was trolling us. Everybody else is usually pretty cool. Everybody's kind of people that we know, or people that are in the scene and stuff like that. So we've been lucky as a media organization to cultivate people who actually see things the way we do, that they like the area, that they like arts and entertainment, they want to talk about these things, and they're not just shitting on it all the time. You know, You see that, you know, there's a lot of major news organizations around here who hate us and see us as competition and want to crush us just for existing. And no names mentioned, but everyone. And they've cultivated this clickbait sort of stuff, and I see it more and more on stuff like WNEP, where they're sharing stuff specifically to get people riled up and pissed at each other, and, like, screaming in the comments and stuff like that. And that's not our goal. Our goal is to get people to say, hey, this area is pretty cool, and there's some cool stuff going on, and I want to share this with other cool people. So if you enjoyed this conversation, you like what you saw tonight, you know, share it. Please let people know about it, you know. Like our pages. If you don't like his page or my page, you know, please share.
And I'll tell you what, you make more money doing that. If you're creative
Absolutely.
and you work with that, I mean, look, Cole Creative right there, all over the background of this thing I've been doing for the last hour.
Right.
And they're my direct competitor. Access Aerial, I'm working with them for a bunch of videos. They're another one of my direct competitors.
Right.
And, who else? There's somebody else. Every single photographer in the entire camera club, they're all my direct competitors. Like, everyone. Mm-hmm. But I tell you what, like, I've made so much more money and gotten so many more gigs by not making myself an island and sharing all their stuff and becoming friends with everybody, and
absolutely,
and it's great. Like, I don't know, I love it. It's hard to wrap your head around, like, oh, you know, you got to make friends with your competitors and then kind of stop competing, just do things together, and everything becomes beautiful and daisies and all that kind of stuff. But it happens. Like, speaking of, not really, in filmmaking, it's hard to have competitors because you need, like, teams of people to do everything.
Sure.
And speaking of filmmakers, Chris Fecko, I probably mispronounced your name. I've never actually heard his name pronounced out loud, but he did, you know.
Yeah, I've seen his stuff.
He has a feature film done right here in Northeastern Pennsylvania, which is
great.
Super badass. You're gonna have to say the name of your film because I forget what it is. I suck at this game. But he's saying, "Hi, John. I feel you are the pioneer of natural disaster drone footage. How do you feel about the drone coverage of Hurricane Florence?" I have no feelings about that. I don't know. I think it's really cool. As long as they stay out of the way most of the time.
Yes.
Like,
Or, if they see something, report it, don't just use people's misery to profit from, I think you see that too commonly. It's like, you see thing on Facebook of somebody filming and you're like, why aren't people helping? Instead of filming, help,
Yeah.
But I think drones can get in places where people can't go.
Oh my God, yeah. Like if you can get out there, like if there's if a city's flooding, I mean, you could do some really good stuff with like flying drones around just to make sure there's no like people trapped in places where you can't get to and you can't see. You're not gonna, I was gonna say paddle a boat, but nobody paddles boats anymore.
Right.
Or drive it. Do you drive a boat? Is that what it's called? Do you drive?
I don't
boats?
know. I don't have a boat, so
You drive a car. You fly a plane, but
Yeah.
do you?
Captain a boat.
You captain a boat. All right.
Yeah.
But you could fly a drone over there and see if people are in danger and stuff like that. Jonathan was a huge asset during the tornado. Andrew T. Bird, another good member of the NEPA Camera Club group, is watching right now. But
Well, thank you guys for tuning in. We got to wrap up, unfortunately. But
yeah.
But we love you guys. Thank you for tuning in, and thank you for your comments and all that. We will see you next week. We do this every Wednesday, 7 to 8 p.m. on the NEPA Scene Facebook page. You can catch it after on YouTube. We upload all of the videos to YouTube, so this will be up there as well.
I'll put a link to it.
Yeah, and you'll see it on the 5-7 Drone Facebook page, which is cool too. It's the first time we've been able to split one like this. It was cool. It was neat to get your audience as well. So
Yeah.
shout out to all you guys, and please support independent media in all forms.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not just plugging myself here, plugging everybody who does this on their own, who does it out of passion and out of love. I mean, and you're one of those guys. So I appreciate what you're doing. I see what you're doing. That's why I wanted to have you on the show to talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, I appreciate it. And honestly, I'm super comfortable talking in this. Like, I thought I was going to be way more nervous, but when we did that multicast thing, like where we split it, and not split it, but like we're broadcasting the same thing on 570 Drone and NEPA Scene, like, I feel like I'm talking to these people that, like, instead of talking to your audience, like,
Right.
I get to talk to my audience.
Yeah, your
who
friends.
We're friends. We've known each other for God knows how long, and they're used to hearing me stumble.
That's what it's all about. Like I'm not a big public speaker. I stutter on my words and stuff like that, but I'm doing this, and people don't know this about me, but I absolutely hate being on camera. I hate getting my picture taken. I hate it, but I love talking to people, and I love doing this part of it. So, and to me, it's a necessary evil because people like this format. They enjoy podcasts. They enjoy these types of interviews. So, I'm going to give the people what they want and deliver the most information I can in a small amount of time. But you got to make those sacrifices and be on camera and be the guy who's talking the whole time.
And you're in my documentary, so.
Yeah, exactly. I don't want to do it, but I feel like, if I don't do it, maybe nobody else is going to do it, And I think it's the same with you, If you're not doing what you're doing, there's probably not a lot of other people that are going to be motivated enough or want to spend the time to do that much stuff.
There's no real monetary incentive to do this. So it has to be something else.
Welcome to NEPA.
It's been really cool
Yeah.
to be on the podcast.
Well, thanks for coming on.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
I'm sure we'll talk again, and we'll be featuring more of your stuff.
We're never
hopefully
talking
in the future.
again. Ever. Like,
After this,
I'm done. I'm walking out the door
Yeah.
and moving back to Alaska.
Thank you, guys. We'll see you next week.